Jill Berlin, and you are listening to The Jill Berlin Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over the air online at WSJS.com or on my website, RSVP65.com, and on my Facebook page. We're live, Jill Berlin. And if you're new to the show, I am your licensed health insurance broker. You can email me with your questions, Jill at RSVP65.com. And you can also go to my website. And today, we are going to talk about our guest on Jill's Heroes in the second half hour of the show. I'm so excited about that. Our health feature segment. But first, we will start with our inspirational quote for the day. All right, this is a good one. This is something that I tell my kids all the time. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. Will, you know who said that?
I don't know who said that.
Nelson Mandela.
He would know these things.
He would know these things. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And I tell my kids all the time, always, always arm yourself with information. And if you read books, you can go anywhere in life. All right. So today we are talking about the Medicare Part D donut hole. So we're going to arm you with some information about what you can expect in 2024 because times are changing. And so there's a lot of people out there who have questions about whether they will enter the donut hole. What is the donut hole? How does it work? And whether or not they will be affected by it. All right. So the donut hole is when your formulary drug purchases exceeds your plan's initial coverage limit. Okay, that's also known as ICL. So your Medicare drugs plan's initial coverage limit can, and a lot of times usually will, change every year. And so in 2024, the ICL is going to change. So that is it. The change is that it's increasing, which is not always a good thing. It is going up to $5,030. All right. So basically, if you're using a formulary drug with a retail cost of, say, I don't know, $300, although you only may pay a $47 copay for your medication, that $300 retail drug value is what counts towards meeting your plan's $5,030 initial coverage limit and entering the 2024 donut hole. And why that's shocking to a lot of people is because they're like, wait a minute. There's no way I'm reached up to $5,000 because I've only been paying $47 for this. But actually, the way that it's calculated is by actually the retail cost of that drug. Fair or not fair? I don't know, but not my choice. All right. So one question that I've gotten is, didn't the donut hole close in 2020? Well, not exactly. So we say that the donut hole is closed since you receive a 75% discount on formulary drugs. Okay. So if your Medicare Part D plan follows the standard Medicare Part D prescription drug plan design, then you will pay 25% coinsurance in that initial coverage phase if you enter the donut hole. And you'll continue to pay that same 25% coinsurance for all the formulary drugs until you reach the end of that stage, which is $8,000. And that is also going up in 2024. So that is something also to note. Now, another question I get is, will I enter the 2024 donut hole? So here's the little secret. All right. I'm going to give you the secret on how you will know. If the retail value of your formulary drug purchases is over $420 per month, you will enter the donut hole sometime in 2024. Okay. So I'm going to give you that secret number again. If the value of your formulary drug purchases are over $420 per month, it's going to happen. You're going to enter that donut hole sometime in 2024. And the higher your monthly retail drug costs are, above $420, then of course, the sooner you're going to enter that donut hole. So the next question is, all right, so when will I then exit the donut hole? This is my joke about the donut hole. Everyone hates the donut hole. But everyone loves donuts, right? No one wants to be in the hole. All right. So if your average monthly retail drug costs are over $1,038, you will probably exit the donut hole and enter into the catastrophic coverage during 2024. Okay, so that's the good news. You want to leave the donut hole so that your total out of pocket costs then are, you're not paying as much once you get out of that donut hole. So that's the good news. If your average monthly retail drug costs are over 1,038, you will probably exit the donut hole and enter the catastrophic coverage phase during 2024. All right, so another question I get is um in 2025, is it going to be the same? No. In fact, there's going to be more changes. All right. So 2024 is actually the last year that the donut hole will exist. In 2025, one of the provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act, we've been talking about this IRA, you've seen about it, you've heard about it in the news. There's a lot of arguments about how the government's regulating the cost of drugs with this IRA. And so one of the things that's in this um, provision is the elimination of the coverage gap, all right, or the donut hole. And so Medicare Part D beneficiaries will stay in that initial coverage phase until they reach the maximum cap on out of pocket spending for Part D formulary drugs, which is set at, are you ready for this? $2,000 for 2025, which is amazing, right? We were just talking about having a monthly retail drug costs are over 1,038, then that's how you know you're going to get out of the donut hole. But here in 2025, what they're saying is that Medicare Part D beneficiaries will stay in that initial coverage phase until they reach the maximum cap for Part D formulary drugs, which is set at $2,000. So after reaching that limit, then Medicare Part D beneficiaries will have a $0 copay for all formulary drugs. It really does feel like it's too good to be true. And kind of what's the catch, right? And right now, I don't know what the catch is. But I will tell you that it's one of those things where I do think this is an ongoing thing for the government. The Inflation Reduction Act is continues to be a topic of conversation because there are so many big changes going on. But I will tell you that no matter what happens during 2024, the annual donut hole will end on December 31st, 2024, which is great news. And then on January 1st, 2025, your Medicare Part D drug coverage starts over from the beginning. Of course, it always starts over on January 1st. And that's when, as mentioned before, your out of pocket spending reaching $2,000. You'll pay nothing for your formulary drug purchases through the end of 2025. So that's the good news. All right. So the next question is there a donut hole for people who are eligible for extra help? Well, the answer is nope. There is no donut hole. Okay. So if you're eligible for the Medicare Part D low income subsidy, also known as LIS, or the extra help program, you will not have a donut hole phase in your coverage because you're eligible to get extra help and you're getting help paying for that. And so it's amazing because you don't have to worry about this donut hole. So that is something that I also talk to my clients about is, hey, are you eligible for extra help? And have you applied for extra help? Because some people are and they don't even know it. That is something you can do. You can go to ssa.gov, which is a Social Security website. And you know that it's a safe website because it ends in .gov, right? And so then what happens is you can apply for extra help to see if this is something that you are eligible for. All right. So how does the donut hole fit into your Medicare Part D coverage? So let's talk about that. As a reminder, and I know we've talked about this ad nauseum, but this is something that's important to know because I continue to get questions on it. Your Medicare Part D plan coverage has 4 separate parts or phases. Okay. So your Medicare Part D plan has, now, granted, if your Medicare Part D plan has a $0 initial deductible, then you'll skip the first or deductible phase and begin coverage directly in the initial coverage phase. Okay. And the initial deductible phase, well, like we said, it changes each year. In 2024, the standard initial deductible is $545. Okay, so that's up. In 2023, it was $505. So it's up $40. Okay, so if your Medicare Part D plan has the initial deductible, you will usually pay 100% for your medications, and the amount you pay will count towards the donut hole. So that's good. And if your plan has a zero deductible, then of course you skip over that initial deductible phase and go directly to the initial coverage phase. All right. So part 2 of your drug coverage is the initial coverage phase. And we are going to keep talking about that when we come back. But I want you guys to know that we're going to keep talking about the drug phases and whether or not you are in a plan that has this, that covers a portion of your prescription costs. You want to stay tuned. And we are so appreciative for you listening today. You're listening to the Jill Berlin Show.
You jump all over them all day. 60 minutes, physicality, passion, energy.
Here comes Duke.
4 quarters all day.
This Saturday, the Blue Devils welcome the Leopards of Lafayette to Wallace Wade Stadium.
Your legacy, our beginning, right here, right now.
Pre-game starts at 4:30, kickoff at 6.
Riley Leonard surges into the end zone for the touchdown.
Follow the action all season long on your home for Duke football. WSJS.
You got to get to Razoo's Cajun Cafe and check out their 2 eat for $20 special. What? Pick your favorite appetizer and 2 entrees for only $20. Start out with the Firemouth Wings or Marty Party Shrimp. Pick 2 of Razoo's famous Cajun entrees. Seafood, chicken, steaks, burgers, po' boys, pasta, etouffee, and more. It's the Cajun way, just like Mama taught us. 2 eat for $20 only at Razoo's Cajun Cafe, 206 Harvey Street in Winston-Salem.
As many as 1 in 44 children might be diagnosed with autism in the United States. And on Saturday, September the 23rd, you can make a big difference in the lives of people with autism, their families, and their communities by registering for the Triad Run Walk for Autism 2023. The Triad Run Walk will be at JC Park in Greensboro and includes a competitive 5K and a fun run walk. If you can't make it that day, become a virtual participant. Do your part to improve the lives of children and adults with autism on Saturday, September the 23rd. For all the details, visit triadrunwalkforautism.com.
Are you tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? D-Rex Pharmacy is now offering a money-saving alternative to Viagra. It's called Sildenafil. This 20-milligram tablet is less expensive and just as effective as Viagra. 5 tablets of Sildenafil equals 100 milligrams of Viagra. D-Rex Pharmacy is offering a huge cost saving on Sildenafil. You can purchase 50 tablets for just $75, less than $2 a pill. Here's pharmacist and pharmacy owner, David Morrison.
It's the same active ingredient. It works exactly the same. It does require a prescription, but it's going to save the patient an enormous amount of money by getting the sildenafil instead of the brand name Viagra.
Call our toll-free number now and cash in on the huge savings. Free shipping is now available. 877-663-2046. D-Rex Pharmacy, 450 Winston Road in Jonesville.
Get the one and done you want for your dog's monthly protection. New NexGard Plus, Afoxolaner, Moxidectin, and Pyrantel chewable tablets. NexGard Plus chews protect against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms, all with one delicious beef-flavored soft chew. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Diarrhea, vomiting, lethargy, and itching may be seen. Ask your vet about new NexGard Plus chews.
Good morning.
Rise and shine.
Good morning. Are you always this good-natured? I mean, in the morning before coffee? Good morning.
It's Triad Today with Jeffrey Griffin.
Good morning and welcome back. You are listening to the Jill Berlin Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over there online at WSJS.com and on my website. And you can always email me with questions. I definitely get some interesting emails sometimes, but I also like the ones with the questions too. So feel free to email me and we'd love to give you a shout out on the radio and answer your questions. All right. So we were talking about part 1 of your drug coverage, the initial deductible phase. And again, we're talking about changes for 2024, what you can expect, right? Because in 2023, the initial deductible was $505, whereas in 2024, it's going to be $545. All right. So then what happens is you enter into part 2 of your drug coverage, and that is after the initial deductible, if any, and you will be in your plan's initial coverage phase. And then what happens with this, the initial coverage phase, is you will enter into that initial coverage limit, which again, we talked about changes each year. And the initial coverage limit or donut hole entry point is when your retail drug costs reach $5,030. Again, this is up. In 2023, it was $4,660. And now it's $5,030. Okay. So the bottom line here is, again, this is the secret number. If the retail costs of your medications are over $420 per month, you will enter that 2024 donut hole. Okay. So that is the part 3 of your drug coverage, the coverage gap or donut hole. All right. So once you leave the initial coverage phase and you enter the donut hole, then what happens is you have to get up to that $8,000. Okay. So as mentioned, the coverage gap, that's the portion of your Medicare Part D coverage where you traditionally paid a larger percentage of the retail drug costs. And that's when I start to get the phone calls. What is going on with my plan? Why am I paying so much money? And that's when I have to be the bearer of the bad news saying, I am so sorry. You are in the donut hole and it is awful and it is not fun and everyone hates it. All right. So just be glad though that if you are entering the donut hole in 2024, you're not the people who were entering it in 2006 through 2010 because you were then responsible at that point for 100% of your drug costs. Fun fact. All right. So anyway, what ended up happening though is once you hit that $8,000, all right, now again, that's up, right? That's up from last year. You will stay in phase 4, the catastrophic coverage phase. And you'll stay in that coverage gap or donut hole until you enter that. And then at that point, you've spent $8,000 on Medicare Part D drugs. Congratulations. Not an award anyone wants to win. But you will exit the donut hole and enter into that catastrophic coverage phase. And then here's the important fact, okay? So starting in 2024, this is not currently, this is January 1st, 2024 and on, you pay $0 for all formulary medications purchased once you enter into the catastrophic coverage portion of your Medicare Part D coverage. These are some of the these are the changes that are coming up that we're letting people know about because guess what is just around the corner? AEP. What is AEP? All these acronyms. AEP is annual enrollment period for Medicare. All right, so it is basically that time of year when you can make changes to your Medicare Advantage Part C or Medicare prescription drug plan. And these changes are made during AEP that take effect on January 1st. So that Medicare annual enrollment period lasts from, does anyone know? October 15th to December 7th. So it's every year, October 15th to December 7th is that Medicare annual enrollment period. And I am actually already starting to make appointments because we as agents, just a fun fact, we as agents are learning some of the plans that they might have for 2024. Now, are they set in stone? Not necessarily. Do they still need to be approved by CMS? Yes. Are the carriers letting us get some sneak peeks of what might be out there? Yes. Are we allowed to talk to our clients about it? No. We are not allowed to talk to our clients about it until October 1st. So if you have an agent who is actually telling you information, they're not supposed to be doing that. But once October 1st hits, that is when these plans are set in stone and we can talk to you about it. And that's why. It's because no one wants to get false information and then it changes last minute. So October 1st, you can get information about the plans for 2024. And then October 15th is when you can actually enroll. October 15th through December 7th. Okay. So during the Medicare open enrollment period or AEP, you can make specific changes to your Medicare Advantage plan or your Medicare prescription drug plan. And these changes, you can make any of these changes. You can disenroll from a Medicare Advantage plan. Okay. And then you can just return to original Medicare Part A and Part B, and then get a Part D plan. You can switch from original Medicare and enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan. So, flip-flop. You can disenroll from your current Medicare Advantage plan and switch to a different Medicare Advantage plan. And this is what I also tell people, my clients, that if you are in a Medicare Advantage plan, which is Part C, then you do want to check in with an agent because these are year-long plans, right? They change from year to year to year. And so the people who can maximize the most of their benefits are the ones who look to see if there's something different. So not necessarily staying with the same carrier year to year is the best thing. So you can disenroll also from a Medicare prescription drug plan. Now, are these drug plans included in the Medicare Advantage plan? Yes. If you have a supplement plan, it is not included. But the supplement plans, you can change those any time of the year. However, if you have a Medicare prescription drug plan, that is something that, again, you have to do during AEP, which you can find out all the details of the plans on October 1st, but you cannot sign up for something different until October 15th. All right. October is just a busy, month for me, Will, because my daughter was also born in October. 10:40 p.m. She was born.
Late.
October 30th.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was
Halloween baby.
this close to being a Halloween baby, but she wasn't. All right. But, we've had a lot of pumpkin carving parties, and since she's a girl, there's a lot of glitter decorating.
Naturally,
too.
always.
All right. So once again, AEP gives you the opportunity to change a plan that better suits your needs. Highly encourage it. And then you can also compare your Part D plans available where you live and enroll in a Medicare prescription drug plan. All right, you guys, stay tuned. We've got the Jill's Heroes segment coming up next, where I highlight heroes who make a difference. And if you know about them, you need to learn more. We so appreciate you listening. I'm Jill Berlin with the WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad.
LL Cool J. Don't call it a comeback. Ow, break down. This Saturday and Sunday in Charlotte and Raleigh. But now I got a new tour. I'm gonna knock you out. Mama said knock you out. And we've got your free tickets. They call me Big LA. Big silly. Big money. Big Billy. Don't miss LL Cool J from Live Nation and WSJS. Cali.
I don't think so.
There's a professional bull riding battle brewing. 8 seconds separate the best, and your Carolina Cowboys are ready to show that in Carolina, it's only done the Cowboy way.
Yo, we coming.
Don't miss Cowboy Days at Greensboro Coliseum, September 22nd through 24th. Led by NASCAR champion and GM Austin Dillon. This team is ready for victory.
Yo, we coming.
Tickets start at only $20 at PBR.com and Ticketmaster.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Saying that his sanctuary city can no longer take in 10,000 illegal immigrants a month, Mayor Eric Adams has told the Town Hall Forum this issue will destroy New York City. As the Biden administration cancels the remaining 7 oil and gas leases in Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, gas prices are edging back up again. Meanwhile, OPEC and its ally Russia have extended a major crude production cut, resulting in oil prices that are on the rise. Mexico's Supreme Court has decriminalized abortion nationwide. It means that Mexico's public health facilities, like hospitals and clinics, must offer abortion to anyone seeking the procedure. State restrictions on abortion in Mexico not affected by the Supreme Court's ruling. The opening bell just sounding on Wall Street now, the Dow down 55 points. More details at srnnews.com.
Let's be real. Retirement is expensive, and inflation is making it even harder with the cost of everything going up from pet food to a dozen eggs. Wouldn't it be great if the cost of your health care could go down? Well, Medicare 65 Plus is $99 a month for ages 65 to 74. And for many with Medicare Parts A and B, looking at other options, that's 50% or more saved per month. No gimmicks. It's $99 a month, and you can use any Medicare-approved doctor or facility, and you get 24/7 access to telehealth from the convenience of your home. Better yet, Medishare is a Christian nonprofit organization. It's a community that'll pray for you and encourage you. And since we've cut out the middleman, you get to keep the savings. Call now. You can learn more about Medishare 65 Plus. Here's the number: 833-SHARE-55. That's 833-SHARE 55. 833-SHARE-55.
With SRN Sports, I'm Jeremy House. Major League Baseball in the American League, the Baltimore Orioles maintain their 3.5-game lead in the AL East.
Austin Hayes had 4 hits, and the Orioles picked up their 5th consecutive win by completing a 3-game sweep of the Angels, 10-3. Hayes and Anthony Santander hit back-to-back homers in the 8th inning, giving Hayes 4 RBIs. Santander and Ramon Urias each finished with 3 hits. Kyle Gibson is 14-8 after allowing 3 runs over 6 innings.
Hats off to the offense. They've done a great job. In a game where we're right in the middle of a West Coast swing, finishing it up. It's been a long 6 days for us so far, and everybody knows we got a long flight ahead of us.
Luis Rengifo had a 2-run homer for the Angels, who lost their 6th in a row and fell for the 9th time in 10 games. I'm Dave Ferry.
Other American League winners included Oakland, Cleveland, Tampa Bay, the New York Yankees, the Chicago White Sox, and Houston. This is SRN Sports.
Piedmont Triad area weather. We have cold front off to our west, and that's slowly heading our way. We will get some sunshine today, pretty warm. Our high will be in the low 90s. Slim chance of an afternoon shower. Scattered showers and thunderstorms overnight, and we're in the upper 60s, and then slightly cooler on Friday. Pretty good chance of rain and thunderstorms, and our high in the upper 80s. Looks like scattered showers on Saturday and Sunday, and a little bit cooler. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton for News Talk Sports for the Triad, WSJS.
I love football. The WSJS High School Football Game of the Week. Presented by the law offices of Timothy D. Wellborn.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Tomorrow night, the Grizzlies of Oak Grove visit the Vikings of North Forsyth.
They tried to shut us down about an hour ago, but we still in this.
It's the High School Football Game of the Week on WSJS.
Tune in to Preserve Your Wealth with Jules Harris.
What does matter, though, is do you have enough income to support your lifestyle, keep your lifestyle the same?
Your retirement matters.
The savings plan is equally as important as everything else you have in your retirement plan. And if you haven't saved enough, then you have to up the ante on your savings plan.
Tune in to Preserve Your Wealth with Jules Harris, right here on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad.
Try it today with Jeffrey Griffin, only on WSJS.
And welcome back. I'm Jill Berlin. You're listening to the Jill Berlin Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over the air or online at WSJS.com. And Will is bringing us back to the 90s, little Ace of Base. That was actually my first CD.
Me too. Tape.
Yes.
I'm going to have to say.
Oh, was it tape?
Tape.
Oh, that was my
Yes.
first CD. I don't remember my first tape. I think all of them were just mixes. All right. We are here with Susan Meyer-Cologne, who is a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway. And I am so glad that you're here. Thank you so much for being here, Suze.
Thanks for having me, Jill.
All right. So you are just a realtor extraordinaire. And here's the thing about Suze is that she is not the type of person who, will work that 9-to-5 job. You'll text her at 10 o'clock at night. She'll respond. You will text her on the weekend at, 9:45 a.m. and she will answer the phone with, while her kids are playing the soccer game. And Suze, you've got 3 kids. You are very involved with them. You're very active in the community. You volunteer and you are extremely active in your work. And we're going to talk about some, real estate tips and all that. But first, I'm going to throw you off. Okay.
That's right. Let's do it.
Okay. And this is what I love about Suze is, she's good on her feet. So she'll be fine with this question. You make it look easy. And I think a lot of people look at you and they think, well, she's got it all. She's got everything. But and I know that's not always the case. So what if there's women out there, because you're such a good influence for other women out there, and you're such a good mentor, and you're such a good example of what to strive to be. What advice would you give to them? Like if you could go back to your 20-year-old self and say, hey, by the way, what would you say?
I think, first of all, it's a huge compliment. Thank you. I certainly don't feel like that. But I think the biggest advice is like just to be honest with people. People all the time say, well, you're doing it all and you've got it all sorted out. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, one reason I have 3 children is because we moved back to my hometown. My parents are here, my family's here. I have a lot of help. Um, I have a lot of help, which allows me to do all the things that I can do. I hire people to clean my house. I do not cook. My parents, I have help from my parents and from sitters, and I have an assistant who's wonderful at work. I have a very supportive company at Berkshire Hathaway, and you just can't do it all by yourself.
But it didn't always start like that. I mean, you sold cell phones in college while people were at the football games.
That's right.
I mean, it's not like you just came into this lifestyle and, you're a hustler. I remember you saying, because I asked Susan for advice when I started this trip and this journey of being an entrepreneur. And I said, how did you do it, Suze? How did you succeed? And she said, Jill, there wasn't going to be anyone else who worked harder than me. And if I need to go to someone's doctor's appointment because that's what's convenient for them, then I'm going to do what's convenient for them. And so, I think that's what's impressive about you, Suze, is that, you're willing to go the extra mile and you always do it so well. You just work so hard. So tell me this, is the market to buy a house or sell a house, is it still good?
Yes, so that's one misconception that we've had a little bit. The market is still good, and I can expand on that a little bit because this year in 2025, so far halfway through the year, sales are down, volume's down about 15% versus 2022. Now that may sound dramatic, but with inventory being so low, then property values have risen over 30% in the past 2.5 years, which is crazy. Typical good market in Winston-Salem, property values rise about 3 to 5% a year. So with property rising as high as they are, there's still a backlog of buyers because inventory is so low. We are at the highest at about 1.2 months supply of inventory.
Jeez Louise. Well, and I think the biggest thing too that is, keeping a lot of people from listing their house are the high interest rates. We were just talking about earlier, drug prices with the Medicare Part D plans and what that's going to look like in 2024 and, how people are affected with their wallet with this. And I think you've seen a lot of people affected by high interest rates, and it's certainly impacting families.
It sure is. A lot of our clients have been in the market, bought and sold houses for 20, 30 years. Hasn't affected them as much because they remember the 80s and 90s when it was 18%, 10%, 12%. It has been hard for first-time home buyers and folks that are just getting into the market, or people who bought 2 or 3 years ago and they had a 3 or 4% interest rate. So we're seeing a variety of responses with the interest rates. Now they've stayed relatively the same for about the past year, fluctuating up and down about a 0.5%. So people are getting a little more used to that. What is hurting us is that a lot of people are choosing to stay in their houses now because they locked in at such a low interest rate. That hurts our inventory level, which then increases pricing because there's more buyers than there are houses currently in the market.
Right. Now, something too is a lot of the baby boomers are turning 65. So there's, this influx of people who are getting Medicare. And so we always say that, these baby boomers, they put Pampers on the map. Then, when they turn 16, they put Chevrolet and Ford on the map.
That's
and,
right.
Then houses. And then, now with Medicare. So I know that there's the 7 Ds of change, right? People still have to move.
Yes.
All right. Tell me about that.
So the 7 Ds of change are that even if inventory is low and people don't want to move, they may have to move. And that is, we call them their diapers. You're having a child, your family's growing, death, sadly, diamonds, you're getting engaged, getting married, looking for a bigger place or to combine households, divorce, diplomas, defaults, and derelocation, which doesn't really make sense. We just put a D in front of it to make 70s.
That is hilarious. I actually make up my own words all the time. And but I admit it. I'm like, that's not a word, but it should be. I need to have a conversation with Webster.
That's right.
All right. So tell me also, talk a little bit about the traditional market boundaries and how they're shifting a little bit.
So that's a great. We are always talking about that constantly, and because rising prices and interest rates have pushed out some of the first-time home buyers. So what we're seeing is traditionally people might want to stay closer in Forsyth County or surrounding areas, and a lot of our home buyers are now looking further out, looking out into different counties, and we're willing to make a little bit of a further drive. I mean, the reality is in this area that even if you're you can go out to surrounding counties and you're still only a 20 to 30-minute drive from work or where you need to be. So especially for people relocating, that can still be half the commute that they were used to in other cities.
Okay. So let's also talk about new construction and whether that's, a big thing. But before we get into that, I want to ask you another question. Is there a story of a time where you went into a house and it was just like you don't forget it because it was just so nasty?
Well, yeah, that happens about once a month.
Once a month. Okay.
Where you feel like you
I
need
thought
to
you were
go
gonna be
home
like,
and
yeah,
take a shower.
in the very beginning, 10 years ago. But no, yeah. Because there's gotta be just some nasty places that you walk into.
They are, and then there's always like the
Like,
kind
is there
of
one
creepy
where like
house
a cockroach
where
like ran up your leg, or something like crazy like that?
more spiders than cockroaches.
Yeah.
But
Do you
then
come home with a lot of spider bites?
I have before. I
Yeah.
have before, or
That's
that's
an itchy
usually
job you got.
that's usually if I'm in a crawl space. But you do have the one or two creepy times where you walk, there's a completely vacant house and you walk up into the attic and there's like a random like old doll
Oh,
in the
yeah.
corner staring at
Yeah.
you.
And you're like, wow.
That'll throw you a little bit.
Yeah. Is it more scary during October?
Yes, it can be.
Yeah, I bet. That's so funny. And I bet you see some pretty interesting family photos too. You know how there's always those like from Christmas that you'll see online, like
Yes, or with somebody cropped out of the photo.
Oh.
Speaking of one of the D's, another funny thing, and maybe funny, not funny, is sometimes there's been a handful of times in the past 18 years where you do walk in on somebody sleeping.
Oh.
And so that's always a little awkward.
Oh my gosh.
Just shut the door and
yeah.
head back out.
Well, that's not you, right? You've never
No
been caught
shot.
sleeping.
No shot.
Okay. All right.
Not happening.
He's not that guy, right?
Yeah,
Not
no.
a chance.
That's not Will. Not even close. All right. So let's talk about new construction, because I think that this is something that people think about right now. With the higher interest rates. Do we sell? Do we buy? Do we build? What do we do?
Well, the hope really in this area, surrounding area, and nationwide is that new construction will pull us out of this low inventory shortage. And so the new construction closings are up 21%. And that's because there's just such low inventory with resales that these builders coming in, we're hopeful that they will continue to build and grow different neighborhoods so that we can have inventory for our buyers.
Okay. Yeah, that's really interesting. I definitely, just did some renovations, and I cannot imagine doing an entire house.
Yes.
It sounds like a full-time job.
Yes, it is.
And extremely overwhelming. All right. Will, do you have any questions for Suze before we cut to the break?
No, nobody's walking in on me sleeping, and we got that covered. So
All right, so
we're
as long
good.
as-
We're set.
All right. As long as we got that covered, we're good to go. All right, you guys, we're going to keep Susan here for a little bit more. If you have any questions, feel free to call in. And also, we're going to ask her, who is your favorite superhero? You are listening to the Jill Berlin Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We appreciate you listening.
Here comes Duke.
It's loose at the 40, and the Blue Devils have it.
Attack the day.
Picked off. He'll high step it in. A knockout blow.
Blue Devil football.
They come after the punt, and they got it. And the Blue Devils are going to take over at their own 42.
Follow the action all season long on your home for Duke football.
Touchdown! And the Blue Devils have the lead.
WSJS.
Willie Nelson and family are on the road again, live in concert.
On the road again.
With Tedeschi Trucks Band.
So walk away with me.
With the String Cheese Incident, Particle Kid, and more.
Whiskey River, take my
The 2023 Outlaw Music Festival, presented by Wheatley Vodka. Saturday, September 9th, PNC Music Pavilion, Charlotte. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com. Part of the Mattress Warehouse Concert Series, produced by Live Nation.
It's Mac Moore, Budget Blinds of North Winston-Salem and Mount Airy. I heard an ad for one of our competitors that said, "Don't hire an expert, just do it yourself." When it comes to window treatments, that's bad advice. For over 30 years, Budget Blinds has been the experts in window treatments: blinds, shades, shutters, drapes, window film, and home automation. In your home or office, let our highly trained experts design, measure, and install your window treatments. You'll be glad you did. Budget Blinds of North Winston-Salem and Mount Airy. BudgetBlinds.com.
It's the blue and gold of North Carolina A&T. Aggie Pride.
Down the left sideline. He's gone.
This Saturday, the Eagles of North Carolina Central visit your North Carolina A&T Aggies at Truist Stadium.
They ain't gonna catch him.
Pregame starts at 6:30, kickoff at 7.
Touchdown, Aggies.
Follow North Carolina A&T football all season long on our sister station AM 1400 and 103.5 FM, The Light, powered by Tobacco Road Sports Radio.
Hey, Mike, what are you doing there, staring at the ceiling?
Oh, hi, Jen. Come check out the energy-efficient lighting I just had installed for my business. It's saving me a ton on my electric bills. Plus, Duke Energy SmartPath paid for almost 75% of the total cost.
Wow, that's amazing. How'd you get them to do that?
It was easy. Just look up Duke Energy SmartPath program.
Duke Energy can help cover the cost of energy-efficient upgrades for your business. Visit duke-energy.com/smartpath today.
Staples has big savings on everything for school or the office. Save on school essentials like notebooks, pens, and crayons. In stock and backed by Staples Price Match Guarantee. Save on signs, banners, and posters from Staples Print and Marketing Services. And now save even more with $10 off document printing when you spend $40 or more. Get everything for the office and classroom for less at Staples. Ends 9/30. Exclusions and restrictions apply. See associate or visit staples.com/print for details. Price Match Guarantee and store only. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
Wake up, it's Triad Today with Jeffrey Griffin.
And welcome back. You are listening to the Jill Berlin Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. We can be heard over the air or online at WSJS.com or email me, Jill@RSVP65.com. All right, we are here with Susan Meyer Cologne with Berkshire Hathaway, and we were talking a little bit about the real estate world and what's going on there. And now we are going to ask Susan some fun questions. All right, Suze, you have 3 kiddos. All right.
That's right.
You in your 20s were working hard. You had moved back home. You're thinking, I'm just going to kill it in the professional world. And then all of a sudden you fell in love and completely get domesticated. All right. So tell us, what is something different about motherhood that you did not expect?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I tell my parents all the time, I'm like, false advertisement. You made this like way too easy.
Have children, they say.
Yeah, I know, right?
Misery loves company.
Yeah. I'll teach you to grow up real fast.
That's right. Well, it's interesting because in my 20s, I always say my first love was real estate because that was my job in my 20s and I loved it and I put everything, my heart and soul into it. And then, of course, I fell in love with my husband. We got married and 3 children later, here we are. So, I still love real estate. I mean, I think the biggest thing with kids is realizing how drastically they change your life. But I would rather be doing nothing than be at soccer games all weekend long or be at swim meets or my husband and I talk about that a lot is, we're not like put out by going to our kids' events or doing our life revolving around that. Like we love it. It's like such a fun stage of life, like carpooling all over the place and having other kids in the car and, being at different tournaments and that sort of thing. I mean, it's just a blast. Personally, I am not a little like baby person as much as I am older children. So as my kids get older, 4, 8, and 10, it just gets better.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, because then you can play with them more and you're not just, holding them and then hoping that they're okay. I just wanted to bubble wrap mine.
That's exactly right.
I still actually kind of want to, but I don't like to admit that
I thought I would worry less and I worry more now.
I know, right? Gosh, it's awful. All right. So, but wonderful at the same time. Who, Suze, especially with 3 kids, I know you watch the Marvel movies and you're all up to date on all the superheroes. So since we're doing the hero segment, who is your favorite superhero?
I have always loved Iron Man.
Oh.
I like a superhero who was
Will's nodding in approval.
100%.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
He is like a real person. I like real people that become superheroes, right? And he's wicked smart, and he figured out a way to, like, you know, save his life and make him a superhero at the same time. And
Charismatic.
yes, charismatic and funny and witty and smart and, like crazy rich and,
That
makes a
helps.
huge difference and gives back. So, I mean, what's not to love about him?
Right. What about yours, Will?
It's Tony Stark and Spider-Man. I'm a big Spider-Man, but it's got to be Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's what I grew up with.
Yep. I agree with that.
Yeah. I think we should all dress up as our favorite superhero.
Who's your
in the
superhero?
station.
Have you already told us?
I don't know. I don't know who it would be. Doesn't matter. Mine doesn't matter. All right. So something else I want to give to you is this. This is the Jill Nelson's Hero Award for Susan Meyer Cologne, because you go above and beyond, and we are proud to recognize you as a hero.
Wow, that is so nice.
Well, it's
Thank
true.
you.
I mean, Suze, I know you do. I mean, we're really not even touching upon all the stuff that you do, because you really are, she's just a positive force. And it's just incredible to me how, knowing you throughout the years, you just, I think you always just try to have such a positive attitude, and, it's just, it's impressive.
Well, thank you. And I love, one thing I've loved about real estate is it has really encouraged me to get very involved in the community. And so I'm just being active in so many organizations, and Winston-Salem is such a great place to be for that, because we just have so many causes and so many amazing people with huge hearts that are always giving back. So when people move here, I tell them, I'm like, anything that you're interested in, we can plug you in to help out or volunteer, because there's so many options and there's so many great organizations. So, we're
true.
really lucky to be here and be a part of that.
Are there some that have touched your heart specifically that you have been involved with?
Yeah, for a long time, I've been involved with like the Novant Women's Council. And that's just a great organization of women that raise funds to help. We'll pick different items every year. And the big recent one is like the traveling mammogram unit. And also with the Junior League, I've been involved with them for years, because that just touches so many different aspects of our community, from like kids' backpack lunches to, the Children's Museum to, there's just so many different Big Brother, Big Sister, Girls on the Run, those sorts of things.
Mhm.
So just being as involved as possible. We're involved in our church at Renolda Church as well. So
I didn't even know that you did the Novant Women's Council. Tell us real quick about that traveling mammogram unit. That's really cool.
So it's amazing. So the past couple of years, we've been doing like fundraisers to basically help Novant purchase like a traveling unit. And so they can stop by different companies, and they can stop through different neighborhoods, and they can scan more women in a shorter amount of time to help detect breast cancer early.
Oh, that's incredible. All right. Susan Meyer Cologne is our hero this week, and we so appreciate you being here. Appreciate it. She's educating us, which goes back to our quote of the day. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. That was Nelson Mandela. And just to educate you a little bit more, the weather. Today, it's going to be 92. Tomorrow, 86 with a 48% chance of rain. So we got a 50-50 shot there. This weekend, it's actually going to cool down 80 degrees, but rain's here. And Sunday, 77, so cool down. But rain is going to be here, so it's going to be cool, but a little wet. But that's all right. It's been really, really, really hot, so we kind of need that. All right, you guys, we so appreciate you listening all the time. WSJS is just such a good home for us. We so appreciate you, and I just love being here. It's like a family. If you missed parts of the show today, you can always watch on Facebook or on my website, rsvp65.com. For Will, Gray Brendel, I am Jill Berlin. You have been listening to The Jill Berlin Show on WSJS News Talk Sports for the Triad. Have a good weekend.